What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Campus Cuts. I'm your host, Tanaka Tava. Campus Cuts is an intergenerational, multicultural show that hosts athletes, entrepreneurs, musicians, politicians, and people from all walks of life to chop it up in the virtual barbershop. And today, I have a very, very esteemed and special guest. Second episode of 2022. I got my brother, a man who is a man of God, a man of the people, man of service, the world's greatest superhero, an aspiring physician, an author, a researcher, and as well as a fellow podcaster and the host, one of the co-hosts of the Ticket to the Game sports commentary podcast, Mr. Albert Kweku Sarpong. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, thank you for having me, Tanaka. It's a pleasure to see you. It's a pleasure that you've had me out here. I mean, it's been a long time coming. I'm super excited and ready to get going.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Well, first of all, you know how it is for people that are new. Campus Cuts is just the show that we just two used to be guests, and I just chop it up. Albert has seen it all the way from the beginning to where it is now, and we both would have never thought this would have happened. But we just thank the Most High, and but yeah, man, just what, of course, usually how it starts for our guest, the podcast is half the guest. What is their name? With occupation and where they're at located. Just share that to the people and then we go dive in.
So, my name is Albert Kweku Sarpong Kumankuma. I am a research technician at Baylor College of Medicine, working right now to hopefully get into medical school this upcoming academic year.
Okay. Right. And you're located in Houston?
That's right. So Baylor College of Medicine is located in the medical center, the Texas Medical Center, here right outside of downtown Houston, Texas.
Okay. And you actually made it. When did you make the transition from Dallas to Houston?
So I made that transition about a week after my birthday, so about October 21st.
Okay.
I made the transition. Wanted to, live in a new city, get some experience in my field, my research field, because I currently am looking to become a physician scientist. So that's somebody that is not only a doctor, but also does research and is active in the research field for biomedical research. So I kind of took the opportunity to, one, grow myself, increase my resume, and hopefully just gain some great experience.
Yeah, man. That's incredible, bro. I mean, of course, it's the new year, it's 2022. Everybody's talking about, growth, new year, new me, all this type of stuff. But obviously, all that growth that comes in is the byproduct of all the years of success. And obviously, man, me knowing you, you are a very successful young man. So one of the first questions I wanted to ask you, brother, is what drives you, man? Like, what's some of the things that, get you going in order for you to continue to display that work ethic that you have today?
So my biggest driving force is, without a doubt, my mother. The hardest working person, I should say, that I know. Um, my story is directly linked to hers, obviously, but the way that we as a family have come together since my birth, my conception, um, it it presented itself to me when I was 12 years old, and my mom was explaining to me how I came to be, what it took for me and for her, I should say, to make sure that I would be in a position to become successful, and how I should never take that sacrifice that she made for granted. So every morning, I'm constantly, when I wake up, that's the first thing that's on my mind. It's like, okay, I have to do this not only for myself, but for her, because she is my everything. She is my entire life. Everything she's done for me, everything she's still doing for me to this day, motivates me. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, now I met your mom. Very
Yeah.
nice lady.
Oh yeah.
Well, hardest working, hard, like, and guys, I hope you realize that he's not joking when he talks about how hard working his mom is. His mom is one of the hardest working people that I've met, in addition to my own family members. And I mean, bro, I guess it's just something about that first generation American grind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. That's a real like motivational kicker. Like if you're a first generation listening to this, like I get you. Don't get me wrong. I fully get it.
Oh man, oh man. And then so now, of course, 2022
Mhm.
here today. So I want to go back into the past a little bit, man. And so, of course, what has been some of the things that you felt like that you learned from the last year, and how did that shape you to who you are today?
So I think the biggest thing from last year that I took away was that everything, now that we are in our 20s, especially having graduated from undergrad, right, having college degrees now, everything that comes from now on, there is no other way to put this. It is in our hands. Uh,
Mm,
it is in our hands to become as successful as we want to be. It is in our hands to, we have, like the whole phrase of we have the same 24 hours. That is a big deal to me. That I really like what from watching you and from my other friends, our other friends, I should say, we have the same 24 hours. We are all capable of doing great things within that time. And so, really, just taking my own destiny into my own hands, um, grabbing the bull by the horns, and just saying to myself, whatever I want to put my mind towards, whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm aspiring to do, it is within my grasp. It is not impossible. It's only impossible if I say it is,
yeah,
and I got to just go get it.
right.
Go get it mentality. That's the way it goes. That's what I've really taken from 2021, brought it to 2022.
Wow, wow. And then, so if you don't mind, if you don't mind sharing, what are some like some? Do you have any like a story or an example or two of what for you what it meant for you to be able to take life, and take full responsibility and accountability for your life that you have today?
So I think story. I think a story I could think of is basically from my from my high school experience into college. Um, really, I'm trying to think about this one. So having seen you guys, right? You, our friend Nathan, and a few other people. My com- I am a very competitive person, right? Competition is something that I really like. I'm really big deal about, but because it breeds and it creates positivity. It breeds and it creates diamonds, pressure, right? Competition. I think the a story I can think of is through. This is a little bit difficult. Trying to put this all together into one is when I saw myself in my lowest state.
Mm,
One of my lower states, I should say. When I was in high school, I was playing basketball, suffered an injury that kept me sidelined and nearly got me removed from my team. Because prior to my injury, I was not playing. I was actually down a lot. Was focused on school, trying to play varsity basketball, not having minutes, not having a chance to really get on the court. And it was my junior year. I had one more year left, and I really wanted to make a real lasting impact for my school. But I was not one. I was playing a position that required me to be strong. I wasn't strong. Two, I wasn't as skilled or talented as the underclassmen that was behind me. And three, I was unfortunately required to miss a lot of practice because I had to focus on my academics. So one thing that I noticed in that was, okay, this has all happened. I'm not playing, and now I'm injured, and now my coach is telling me I'm going to be out for the. I'm probably not going to be able to return for the senior season.
mm,
So I realized that I needed to improve some aspect that I can control within what was given to me. So I have a foot injury, a stress fracture in my third metatarsal on my right foot. So that automatically removes my legs. I can't run. I can't do leg workouts. I can't do any of those things. But I have my arms. I have my chest. I have my shoulders. Let me get in the weight room and at least focus on increasing my upper body strength. Increase my upper body strength. One. Two, my skill set on the basketball court. My IQ, my knowledge was not as where it needed to be for a varsity player.
right.
So I go study film. I start watching professionals, college players, and my teammates, learning their tendencies, learning their the mannerisms, learning, defenses, offenses, um, special like different kind of moves, different positions, how different positions can contribute in different ways to win a game. The biggest thing they say in sports is that, and this is why I brought up competition earlier. Sports are a really big allegory on life. If you want to, if you want to see how life can be um, a true a true mission, watch how basketball evolves. Watch how soccer, football evolves. Players, when they are actively working in a team environment, or even if you're playing like a single person sport like tennis, when you're training and you're putting in the time and you're taking steps to progress as an athlete, it's the same way a person takes steps to progress in their career in, I don't know, business, in engineering, in science, things like that. So that's what I decided to do. I said, okay, I'm going to take these steps. I'm going to watch this film. I'm going to study. And the better I did that, the more the game slowed down for me whenever I was watching it. And then when I came back, everything became like I wasn't moving at 500 miles per hour anymore. It was like, okay, I'm patient. I'm here. I'm able to see it. And that helped me get a starting position on my varsity team, become a team captain, and have a great, successful senior season. So that's kind of where I saw that, okay, if I work within my means, even if things are there are certain aspects that are out of my control, like for instance, my foot, I can't control how long it takes to heal, but I can control what I can do. Even though I can impact the game at that point in time, I can take that and carry it to whenever I'm able to return. So that's kind of that's the story that I like to refer back to.
Wow, that right there, bro. Thank you for sharing that story, and it just shows that no matter what situation that you're in, there is always something out that's in our control. Because most of the time, of course, our physiological brain and who we are, we always are looking for external sources or external stimuli in order for us to continue. And of course, neurologically, hey, there's a dopamine hit or some sort of thing like, okay, hey, because of this, I'm going to continue this reinforcement, right? But
Hmm.
the fact that you were able to be present within yourself, really look within, like and it's hard. I don't like I bet you like it was so hard to look at yourself in the mirror and say, this is where I'm lacking. This is the thing that I suck at, and this is the thing I do bad. But then after that, you say, okay, I can't control this injury. I can't control the way that my coaches or whatever they think about me. But what I can control is my ability to get into the weight room, be able to go look at the film, and actually improve on myself and change my IQ and actually learn the game, bro. That right there, and of course, that does again. I mean, of course, we know this is called stoicism, right? To be stoic, to be in a situation where no matter what the chaos is, if you're
Hmm.
able to be present as possible, no matter how many times you like life hits you, you'll be good because
Right.
I'm calm, I'm clear, I'm collected, and I can move.
No matter what, that's literally what it is. You can move. You can go forward. I mean, self awareness is a very powerful thing when you're truly self aware, but also like have almost unlimited confidence. That's
Yeah,
a very dangerous combination that a person can have. And that's something I'm still mastering. Like I don't know if I'll ever master it, but I know that I'm going to get to that point one day, and I'm still working towards that. So having self awareness, stoicism, self concept, and then taking all of that and having confidence is
mm,
it's a very powerful thing.
man, that yeah, we can talk about that again. And so now, of course, I want you to speak on your undergraduate career real quick. Obviously, you're in the medical field. So, what were some of the driving forces for you to be able to come to Baylor, go to Baylor at first, and then why, and how was your experience there?
Oh man, coming to Baylor. So
Yeah,
that's coming to Baylor. I mean, honestly, it was a really like okay. It was one of the first schools I applied to, but my intention was always to go to University of Texas in Austin, and I did get accepted there as well as Baylor. And then one night, I just saw the money, and the money wasn't looking right, and I just said, "All right, let me just go to Baylor because they have a good pre med program, and it's not too far away, 2 hours from where we live, me and you, Dallas, Texas." So I figured. or where I used to obviously stay. And I figured if I'm close to family and I'm in a pretty good school, and they're paying me like a lot of money to go here, like I don't have to pay as much as I would have had to pay at UT. Surprisingly, even though Baylor's a private school, why not? Why not go to Baylor? Plus, I wanted to become a physician, and the driving force for that was because of my grandfather and what he meant to me. He was one of the first father. He was the first father figure I ever had in my life, and he was always there for me. Excuse my computer. He was always there ever since I was a toddler. When my mom sent me to live with him and my grandma in Ghana, West Africa, um, and he was as he got older, he began to his health began to deteriorate. So he had type 2 diabetes. He had suffered 2 strokes. He was
Mm,
not able to walk without a walker and needed a wheelchair when we went out places. And he also had hypertension and amongst a slew of other health related things, prostate cancer, a bunch of other stuff. And so I spent from when I was in fourth grade up until my first year of college, he was in my care. Um, my mom, who was a nurse at that time, now is a nurse practitioner, was always trying to encourage me to be about the family, especially with him because he needed help walking up and down the stairs. He needed somebody to make his food. He needed somebody to help him check his medicine and check his blood pressure, things like that. So that was always something that I was deeply invested in. One, because I knew I wanted to do health, but then my grandfather, my he's basically my dad. So that's what I did for him all the way until my freshman year when he passed away. So
mm, Thank you for sharing that, bro. And then of course, one up for thank you for sharing that. We're not going to put right over there. And that, and obviously, you and the way that you work and how you've been involved on MEPS, and now obviously, you're part of Region Three. You're a Region Three
yeah.
representative, and
Mhm.
of course, who you are and what you've done in the medical field, and especially with your research, your publications. Um, Guys, don't let this man fool you with his humility. This nigga is that nigga, okay? This is my show. I own 100% of it. I can say whatever I want. The fuck I want to say. This guy is
Mm.
fine. And on top of all this other stuff that he does, goodness gracious. Come
Yeah.
on, man.
Thank
Come
you.
on,
Thank you
man.
so much.
Dude. Like, okay, but no, bring it back. Okay, so again, you saw somebody. Was your grandfather a part of the medical field at all?
He was a nutritionist, and
Mm.
he was studying cholesterol breakdown in the arteries. So he was looking into lipid things with lipids, things with fats, trying to figure out how to break those down in human arteries. So he was actually a PhD from the University of Connecticut.
Wow, wow,
Yeah.
that's a very academically. Any ladies out there, he's single, okay?
Yeah, yeah, I am. Unfortunately,
No, but wow, like a very strong academic background. That's really
yeah.
cool. And so there's three directions I want to go to. But the very first direction is, of course, you've seen somebody in your life who's helped us through your younger now that is obviously made an impact for you in order to continue to be that sort of inspiration and sort of hero to be able to save people's lives, whether they are crossing over or as well as making sure we allow them to be, to continue to have sustainable lifestyles that, make them age longer. So my question for you, brother, is
Mhm.
what does health mean? What does it mean to be healthy, or what is your definition of health?
What does health mean? Okay.
I know that's a very big question. You know me, bro, but it's the nature of the cost.
Yeah. No, health is that is a big question. Health equity. It is a difficult topic to talk about in America. Unfortunately, it should not be that way. But I do think, if I put it in my own words, health is having not only the knowledge but the autonomy
Mm.
to make your own decisions in regards to what you consume. If you can have, if in everybody, in my opinion, should have the resources to be able to eat as healthy as possible. Have the resources to be able to, discern okay, these foods I can consume, these can promote healthy lifestyle living, these are vitamin rich foods, these are organic foods, things like that. That's one, right? So discernment and autonomy. Um, I would say, though, that true health is, hmm, how do I break this down? Waking up in the morning and you have, I wish I could put this into words. You have a sense of holistic life. It's not even a phrase, but holistic living. So lifestyle. So you have your exercise, your physical, your mental, right? Your spiritual health, if you are a spiritual person, and your psychological. I do believe that all these things are very important. Things that you have to take into account daily. Knowing you, I know you. You are always one to focus on those aspects of your life, right? You make sure you're reading your word, spiritual. You make sure you're filling your thoughts with positivity, psychological, emotional. You make sure you're connecting with people, genuine connection, right? And physical. You train. You are a track athlete. You do these things. I believe that when you break health down, you have to break it down into those categories for a person, right? And you have to take autonomy over that. But you have to be empowered to do so. So you have to have the knowledge, the discernment to understand how those things affect you as a person, and then carry that over to your own personal autonomy and actually take an effort to encompass those four, you could say five, but four aspects into your life. So I think that's what health is. It's really being empowered, having autonomy, having discernment, and then putting those things into action.
Yeah, that's really good, and I love the way that you were able to break it down. Also, I received a compliment. I received a thank you so much. That means a lot, brother. I do.
Of course.
And so, of course, right now we are in the in the middle of so many health crises. One, lack of food and lack actual, not even the lack of food, but the lack. One, of course, supply chains, and of course, a lot of things being held back due to production due to the pandemic. Which, and then
Yep.
of course, the pandemic is a health crisis. And we
Hmm.
also have the opioid crisis that's been
Hmm.
happening, that's been raging amongst people our age demographic, 18 to 25 specifically. And into addition to that, a mental health crisis due to social media, TV, lockdowns. It just seems like the world is going under a huge reckoning. Obviously, you are in somebody that is in this field, this medical field, and somebody who's willing to have for the right? So
Hmm.
now my question for you is, how do we, again, going back to your previous point, how do we empower people in order to start taking that first step and reclaiming their power with their health?
So how do we give people the ability to take back? Is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah, like the ability to empower, because you said like people need to feel empowered, right? So how
Right.
can we help empower people to take care of their health?
Ooh, that's
I,
hard. That's hard.
I know.
Everybody's different. Everybody has different beliefs. So it's like I gotta consider people's belief systems. I gotta consider people's family structure. Right now, everybody has the same family structure. Some people live in group homes. Some people live with multiple family members. Some people, have regular, standard American nuclear family structure: mother, father, and kids. But some people, like I was, mother, grandma, grandpa, cousin, this. So all that stuff has to be looked at, right? Like I'm like, okay, if I'm looking at that, and that's a whole broad sense, right? To help people feel empowered, and then obviously access to resources and technology, because there's a lot of information out there, but people don't know it's out there, one, or don't know how to access it, two. How do I help people feel empowered? It's really just a matter of like, it really just comes from education. My grandpa used to always say that it comes from education and working to seek out that education. You have
Mm,
to be able to, like, we live in the age of misinformation. Let's keep it a buck, right? So many, so much media, so much stuff is being pushed at us left and right. If you don't know how to break that down, you can you can fall into some pretty dark places. Um,
yeah,
Right. And you brought up social media. the whole crisis with Facebook last year, still going on. Meta, I should say, Meta, not Facebook. Instagram, Twitter,
TikTok,
talk.
Snapchat. Literally, I think I sent you an article about the girl that committed suicide, 11-year-old girl, because she was getting bullied.
There you go, right? Things like that. And they used to talk about cyberbullying when we were in school, but they did not see this coming. So, regardless, I shouldn't even. It's
I know we should be laughing, but
it's unfortunate, truthfully. Um, it really comes down to education and just if you are somebody, let's say, I'm gonna give an example. Let's say you're someone who is between the ages of 11 and 21, and you live with parents who are, maybe they're millennials or Is it Gen X? No, no,
Gen
before
X.
that.
It's
Gen
Gen
X?
X.
Okay.
Mhm.
Her parents that are, that era that don't really understand or may not really understand what they're being fed through the media and things like that. I think it's up to you to really sit down with yourself and say, okay, my family, because my grandma used to say, charity begins at home. It's in the household. Break it down for them. Show them, hey, this and this and this, and that you have to take the time to really learn this first before you can educate somebody else. This, and this that they're saying isn't necessarily true because they are just trying to feed an agenda, right? And in the age of social media, in the age of political agendas and lobbying, it is so scary what they will try to sell you to make you think to yourself that this and this is happening when in reality it's the opposite. So I think empowerment comes from education first and foremost. And I'm not saying people have to go to college because college is not for everybody. Unfortunately, it's not. But we live in an era where you can learn so much from your phone, laptop, iPad, whatever. So take that time, really try to get both sides of the argument first, right? That's something that I do. Get both sides of the argument. See one end and say, okay, but who could counter that? Find the opposite, and then look at it and say to yourself, I want to make my own decision on this. I want to know the facts, the opinions, and then draw my own. It's just that
Mhm.
simple,
Mhm. That's
right?
good. And so now for you, does that mean it takes a little bit longer time for you to form opinions? And then, of course, in a
Oh yeah.
stressful
Oh
world,
yeah.
quick, where people ask you, or they might hit you up, oh, what you think about this? Do you like encounter a little bit of like resistance or pushback in the way, or no, not resistance, friction in the way that somebody might ask you, hey, what you think? And then you take a long time to respond, and they're like, why aren't you saying anything? Have you experienced stuff like that before?
Yeah, I have. Because it's very it's very scary out here. Sometimes people, like I said, everybody has differing beliefs. And there's a lot of differing beliefs in this country right now. And
So
there's a
many.
lot of polarization.
Yeah.
It's just facts. Like it is what it is. So, I have to really be able to watch my words, make sure I'm saying the right things. Political correctness, I guess, would be the term, but I'm also trying to give my opinion while also seeing the other side. So I will
Mhm.
always preface my opinions by also showing perspective for the opposition. Because at the end of the day, who am I to tell somebody something is, unless it's straight fact, right? That's one thing. Who am I to tell somebody they're wrong in the way of living if that's how they grew up living?
Right.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense, and especially in somebody who is in the science field, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, I would like to think of both of us being very lot more left brain than we are right brain. Yes, I know people look at my creativity and whatever, but people don't realize I was pre med. Like I'm very methodical and very routine and very logical, right?
Right.
With and very objective because we have to look at data sets, especially with like my field, like data analytics, psychographic data, understanding the customer, blah 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 blah. Blah. And of course you looking at like different microbes, taking the data research and all and combining all this mass information and being able to think it, right? So
That's
I would
right.
like to think of us as more logic, more seeking the objective point of view,
Right.
right? The more accepting of the objective point of view. So what do you do in a situation, or how do you navigate a situation for somebody who is not objective, who is more opinionated, right?
You Okay. So that's a great question. You have to know your audience first and foremost. You got to know your audience. You can't communicate if you don't know your audience. If you don't know who you're talking to, how are you going to be able to explain to them? And that's the thing. I feel like one of the truest signs of intelligence is knowing how to take a complex subject and shrink it down to the most simple of like manners and then present it to somebody and they can pick it up, understand it, and digest it in a really efficient amount of time. If you can do that, I think that you, in my opinion, you're one of the smartest people out there because there's so many things that, like we said, we are college educated, we have all this advanced scientific knowledge. How do we sell that to someone who's never been in a biology 101 class, right? How do we sell the idea of neurodegenerative diseases if somebody's never taken pathophage? Like, we can't do that unless we are able to take that information, package it, put it in like an Amazon box and deliver it with Prime. Like, we have to look at it that way.
Yeah.
That's why public health is so important.
Mm.
That's why like public health and public health communication is so critical, and health communications is so important. You think a great example would be when people didn't understand what it meant to social distancing. First of all, the term social distancing wasn't even a thing until March or April of 2020, I should say, because it took a minute for the CDC and folks in the government to realize, how do we break down 6 feet? How do we tell people that? Nobody knew what 6 feet was. Nobody knew what it meant to socially distance at that time during the quarantine is what I'm referring to. So breaking it down to a word of social distancing and putting signs and showing people like this is what 6 feet looks like, things like that. Just simple spots on the ground at Walmart, things like that. That's how you take that time to really break down information for people.
That's good. That's really good.
Mhm.
And I'm not even speaking about that, the CDC and of course, we know people that who have worked there, people who
Yeah,
have
yeah.
been there, and as well as that. And I want to get your, your point of view. What do you feel like, as somebody that is a health professional now, what do you feel like were some of the um, blind spots or downfalls uh, for the CDC during the beginning of the pandemic?
The
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah, and remember, and you also remember your professor at one point in time was on CNN all the time.
Still
Like, you
is.
were actively taking a class with him, and he was obviously getting pulled, like whatever, and then after that, he had to leave. So you literally have direct experience with some people who have been working with the CDC, people who are in there. Like, so, in your point of view, as somebody that's a public health professional, what were some of the downfalls that you felt like the CDC did, and how do you think that they recovered from that? What can you do in order to make sure that you do not repeat the same mistakes?
So CDC. Okay. So we have, if I'm looking at the timeline correctly, you have situations where once the quarantine was lifted, per se, kind of lifted partially, it became a states thing, right? It became a states' rights issue. And then eventually that led to a political issue, which was unacceptable, in my opinion. Public health should never, ever become something that involves the Democrats and Republicans feuding. I think that was a bad move. And it was unfortunate that they couldn't address it faster, that they politicized COVID-19, especially during the 2020 election. That was a mistake. So you have that. You have, if I move a little bit further in the timeline, you have the CDC saying if you're fully vaccinated at that time, what they considered fully vaccinated was having a two-shot of the mRNA vaccine or one shot of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. They said if you had full vaccination, you could walk outside without a mask. And they were basically playing on social, what's the word? Like, where people are essentially taking, you know, accountability for themselves if they have or have not received the vaccine as a way to promote vaccination. That was a mistake because as soon as that happened, the Delta variant came. Hospitalizations increased during that summer, and it was not a good look. And with the Omicron variant now, and the CDC decreasing the length of quarantine from, I believe, 10 days to 5 if you have the two-shot vaccine, I know they're trying to avoid a lockdown. Like, if I'm being honest with you, they are trying to avoid a lockdown at all costs because of how they already see the economy. The economy right now is obviously going to be in a recession very, very soon. You know this. You know this. So they are trying to not have that happen on their watch until it does happen when it does, which it will happen relatively
Very
soon.
soon.
Yeah, relatively. And so
Get this book, y'all, if you want to learn more about this.
there you go. Slight plug. So I think that the CDC came short. Oh, and even like, and this is something that I'm not 100% sure if they were not aware or if they just didn't know, because I feel like at the same time they're learning as we do, which is very crazy.
Right.
Early on in the pandemic, we had the idea of wear a mask, don't wear a mask, wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Like that whole back and forth that they were doing in March, April, and May, all of that. I mean, it just created so much panic and so much confusion that now a lot of people don't trust public health, which is very sad.
Mm,
And I can't blame them. I can't blame them. They have the right to choose not to. It's America, right? So at this point, now we are moving towards okay, we have the booster. They're going to eventually consider people with the booster fully vaccinated, and those who have not received the booster and have been eligible with the 6 month period from the second shot, not fully vaccinated. So that's going to be something that's going to happen, I believe, relatively very soon. And we're just going to have to see how the public responds to that.
well, I know from one point of person's point of view, or actually, no, not that. But I assume that some people's point of view, they would like to, they would say, okay, some would like to say, hey, man, like, there's a political, like, I mean, this situation has been politicized.
Right.
And now also, of course, Johnson and Johnson, and Pfizer, and Moderna happen to be public companies
Hmm.
that make billions of dollars each and every year.
That's right.
And so now, of course, would it be fair for one person to be, or some people, or a group of people to be skeptical and saying that, hey, I need to get the fourth and fifth after I got the first two, maybe three, four, not five? Is it just like some would like to paint that maybe this is just a money grab?
Hmm. Yeah, no, those are all fair arguments. I can never argue against that, because we were all sold on the idea that two shots would be more than enough to handle the alpha and beta strains of COVID-19, the coronavirus, and the SARS coronavirus too. And now that it's evolving, which, okay, the evolution of the virus, hopefully it gets to the point where it's able to not be as deadly. I believe it's not as deadly as it used to be. And now we are getting to that point where it's going to just become potentially like a seasonal thing, like a every year situation where it's not deadly, but it does spread. Um, but honestly, it's really tough to say. If I'm being honest, it's really difficult to say uh, what what we can expect. I mean, okay, so the Pfizer, right? They have just dropped their what is it? The pill, COVID-19 pill that they're going to start selling. The FDA is going to approve it. I believe they've approved it, if I remember correctly. And that's something that would be an alternative to vaccination. So things like that. The way I see it is that somebody's going to benefit from this monetarily. It is sad that it came in this light, but I don't know how to stop Pfizer, Moderna, J&J from benefiting monetarily from the situation. If I'm looking at it from the Operation Warp Speed standpoint, where so much money was funneled into these companies to, speed up the research on mRNA vaccines and on the, well, it just eluded me what Johnson and Johnson's is, but I know it's the vector vaccine. There it is. So it is just the unfortunate situation of big pharma in this country. That's the answer.
Yeah, the unfortunate situation is just coming. And now, I'm not sure if you've seen, I think I might have sent it to you. I don't know. I think I haven't sent it to you. Mark Cuban is now starting a pharmaceutical company as well.
I saw that on Twitter. You did not send it to me, but I saw it on Twitter today.
Right.
That was interesting.
That was
That was
interesting.
interesting.
Kind of going like with the a Martin Shkreli situation. If people
Hmm.
don't know about Martin Shkreli, look up what he did in 2013 to 2016. One of the craziest cases, SEC allegations, and seeing how he honestly manipulated the pharmaceutical industry by making other his competition hike prices up, and it was very unethical. He made bank, but now he's in jail. Right?
Goodness.
Oh, goodness gracious, goodness gracious. And also, I really appreciate your perspective and your point of view and giving you your knowledge that you know, and also being transparent in the way that there's some things that you don't know, you're not sure, because of course you are a physician and a scientist in training. So
Yeah. True.
and so of course, thank you so much, brother. But now I want to go more into the cultural aspect of Albert Alb. So obviously you are, you're somebody who, of course, you're dedicated to the work and all that stuff, and your scientific mind and brain. But of course, you are creative yourself. You are an author, and as well as a podcast host, or one of the hosts of Ticket to the Game. Bro, talk
Right.
about that, man. Like, how did you get into the venture of podcasting? What is Ticket to the Game? Break it
Mhm.
down. Let's go.
Oh, ticket to the game. All right. So how do we get into podcasting? We saw you. We said we can do that, and we did it. That's what we did. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I mean, yes, we did see you putting in work. We were like, we've been wanting to do this for a while, but you were the trailblazer. You paved the path. We said, all right, a group podcast over basketball and other sports like football and sometimes even soccer. We said we can do that too.
yeah.
And so initially, the five of us got together. Myself, Antonio, Humble, Demi, and Cade got together, and we said, "Hey, we have a lot of basketball knowledge. We have a lot of knowledge over the history of the NBA. Let's get together and let's talk about it because we see shows like Undisputed, First Take, First Things First, you know, and they sell narratives. They sell the narrative.
You know what?
Is LeBron better than Michael Jordan? Stephen A. Hell no, he's not better than Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is the greatest human being who walked on this earth, and it's like, goodness, are y'all? Is that all we know? Is MJ and LeBron? We don't know. Kobe didn't play basketball. Magic, Kareem,
Dwayne
Wilt,
Wade.
Phil, Wade, Kawhi. Like, come on, Giannis. The disrespect to Giannis. I'm not gonna
Disrespect.
Jokic too and Embiid, but that's another story. So we said no. We're gonna be impartial. We're going to give our opinions because we have our own opinions, but we also recognize that basketball is an evolving game. The players today, they are unfortunately for the old heads, they are better. I'm sorry, they have more skills. They shoot better. They run better. They play defense. But I mean, you could say hand check versus non hand check era. Whatever. These guys are more athletic. If you gave them the hand check, it would be insane.
Mm.
And guys like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Michael Jordan, those are outliers. And those guys are obviously going to be, they already are Hall of Famers, top 10 players ever. Two of them are top 5, in my opinion. So, like, looking at the game of basketball and how, so many people are now getting into the NBA and into basketball because of social media. If you remember, when we were in middle school and high school,
Bro, hoop mixtape,
Hoop
Seven
mixtape, thank
Woods,
you.
Zion
Exactly what I
Williams,
said.
Kevin Hart. Oh, shit.
Zion Williamson, Andrew Wiggins, Austin River, John Wall, what's his name? Seventh Woods.
Seven Woods, Aaron Gordon. Oh, my.
Thank you.
Bro.
That's Zach Levine. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Oh my
Levine, bro. Okay. Who's that guy in the Pistons? Who's that guy in the Pistons? Stanley Johnson. Modern day, bro.
And the hype tapes that we used to see back then and how it's evolved, House of Highlights, Bleacher Report, they have ran and have taken these things and made it into its own thing. So much money. So much money in these businesses. Just to promote these athletes at a young age.
Yeah.
From the ages of, you have your so the AAU, right? The AAU system that was developed, I can't remember if it was the late 90s or early 2000s. I want to say late 90s. And how a lot of these players today, they all play AAU ball. And They all have, their names plastered on the internet and on social since they were 13, 14, sometimes as early as 10, 12. It's crazy.
Yeah. So now, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think that is, how do you feel about that? Like, I'm like, how would you feel? Like, what is your take on, these kids having the spotlight so young? Or now we only see, like, what currently, and the rest, God, we don't know where.
So I think it's just the evolution of the game. I think these kids, you know, one thing about that separates basketball from football in America. If I'm looking at American sports, football players wear helmets. You can't see their faces. You can just see their bodies running around. So with basketball, you can see the face. You can see the expression on the face when they play, and it's an indoor thing, right? You can come in, camera set up. You can literally see. It's so much more accessible, and anybody can play basketball. Not everybody can play football.
Sure.
So anybody can pick up a ball and start shooting. A great example, Stephen Curry and what he did to evolve basketball, right? I can't be LeBron. I don't jump 40 inches and I'm not 6'8", made of titanium, okay? Vibranium, whatever. But I'm 6'3". Some people are 5'8", but they can shoot like Steph.
Yeah.
I played against some people that can shoot like Steph. Not like
Yeah.
him, but like, you know, they can mimic him. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And all that, you know, and people wanting to mimic these great players and have play styles like them and go to their camps. So many players that attend these, you know, the Steph Curry camps, the LeBron James camps, the Kevin Durant camp, and they got the shoes. There's a video of, I think it was like Devin Booker. Oh, I can't remember. I think Zach LaVine was there.
I think that was NBA.
What's up?
Like 2012, right? Like when they were all young.
They're all young. All these current NBA All-Stars, and they're in. I can't remember who. I think it was Katie's camp or somebody. And they're there, and they have the Nike Elite bags and the Elite socks. You know, remember those from seventh grade? Like Elite socks were serious. And the you know the brands, and they're out there, and they were playing, and like they were instantly recognizable. And you know, when we were young, they were our age, and we were like, dang, those guys are so cool. Like they're people our age that are going to become professional athletes and become faces of the league and things like that. So I think all of that, and they were running AAU, and they were playing those big tournaments in Vegas and South LA. Let's go to another example. The Ball family. I mean, come on. Like LaMelo, Lonzo, and LiAngelo LeVar. He sold that so well and came out there in 2017. I'll never forget this man. Came out there and said, I will have my son drafted to the Lakers. And he drafted number 2 by Magic Johnson. Like, come on.
Existence.
And then said, my youngest is better than the 2 that came before him. And he is. Like, LaMelo is cold. And he's playing in the NBA, and he might become an All-Star. I think he's going to be an All-Star. We'll find out in the next few days.
I hope he does.
I think he will
work.
I think he will. If not, it'll be very borderline. So, you know, I think all of that taken into account, that's why, you know, things like House of Highlights, Hoop Mixtape, NBA Central,
Yaya's Finest,
right,
bro.
You know, and you're seeing it now on TikTok and Instagram Reels. People are playing basketball in these parks, and they got massive crowds, and people are watching. And I mean, are some of them scripted? I don't know. I feel like they are, but it's there. It's still attention, and it's still presence, and that's the crazy part.
Right.
That's the crazy part about it all. So it is evolving. I mean, basketball is becoming a very flashy game. It's a very flashy game. Players today are very flashy. Kyrie Irving, Chris Paul, very flashy, very dynamic players. Steph Curry, obviously, Damian Lillard, very dynamic players that get out there and they do their thing, and it looks pretty, it sells well.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
So now let me ask you this. So of course you said Michael Jordan. Well, you said your top 5. I assume that's like Magic and Michael.
Yeah. So my top 5.
Your top 5. Yeah.
Michael Jordan is number 1. And he's not. And before anybody starts closing their computers or turning off the app, Michael Jordan is number 1 because in the 15 years he played basketball, he became the greatest player of all time. I should say 13 because the last 2 years in the Wizards was just him chilling and having fun.
But he's still putting up buckets.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Facts. He was dropping 50. That's crazy. But in the 13 years that he was in Chicago, he was undoubtedly, well, I would say 9 out of those 13 years, he was undoubtedly the best player
in his prime.
Right.
In his prime. But I always think about if he played 94, 95, 95, 96. No. Hold on. 93, 94, 94, 95. They would have won 8 straight. 7.
It's hard to three-peat, and he did it twice, but I don't know about 8. I think Hakeem would have given him problems. I think the Houston Rockets in that era, and of course the Orlando Magic, who did beat them, even though Michael had just came back, obviously. But that's another thing.
Nah, it was gonna
I
be
think the big men of the big men of that era, I think, would have given him some trouble trying to keep him from getting to that elusive 4 straight or 5 straight up until But he had retired and came back and won 3 more. But I mean, from the Last Dance, like we saw, it wasn't easy. It was very difficult that last year. What the general management with Jerry Krause was trying to do to Phil Jackson, and obviously the whole Scottie Pippen thing, which continues to this day for some reason. I don't know why.
bro with his book. Bro, let it go, bro. I'm sorry. Your wife got taken by Future, bro.
He
Why
got
did your wife get taken by Future, bro?
hey. Future. I don't want to talk about Future. I don't want to talk about him. He's the ultimate menace. I mean,
Oh, menace! Taking
yeah,
people's wives. I
he
can't talk.
definitely that much is true. So yeah, that whole saga. So Michael Jordan, number one. Number two is on LeBron James. If I'm looking at players and nothing to do with wins or
Championship.
actually, I should say wins, but not championships. LeBron James is the greatest basketball player ever. But because he has gone to 10 NBA finals and hasn't won half yet, hopefully, I can't put him ahead of. And he had the 2011 finals against Dallas. I was in Dallas at the time. He stunk it up, no question. That's a huge stain on his legacy. I have to put him in number two, just for the sake of okay. But LeBron is the most complete basketball player ever. Can do everything. Can guard 1 through 5. Anybody that tells you he can't is lying. They've only been watching LeBron for the last 3 years. When I saw LeBron in Miami, that is the greatest basketball player I have ever seen, and probably is the greatest basketball player ever in terms of pure talent.
Talent. LeBron James is a generational talent. Y'all better
He's
not.
the face of the league. He's the face of the NBA, and when he retires, it's going to be a truly sad day. That's going to be one of the greatest days in sports history.
Bro, he's been in the media since he was 16, bro.
Earlier,
37,
like 15.
No, 15.
Like sophomore year of high school.
Bro, imagine that. And the consistency, the hard work, the
poise to address
bro.
the media and to do all these great things outside of the game, but never cheat us in the game. When he's on the court and he's always giving us 110%. You know how wild it is that the fact that you can actually count the number of games or number of moments LeBron has not played defense. It's like on your hands. There's some players that they just don't do it, and that's when he's like 36, 37, and he's not playing defense. But early in his career, he was out there. I mean, from rookie of the year to a championship run in his 4th year in the NBA at the age of 22 years old to going to Miami, winning 2. Going back to Cleveland, the greatest championship ever in 2016, because I still stand by that. And
3-1. No one has ever done it 0-72. No,
There you go. We can talk about LeBron all day. I'm not gonna. He is phenomenal, special. Number 3, I have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, formerly known as Lou Alcindor. Kareem is the greatest. Probably the greatest high school basketball player ever.
Yeah.
One of the greatest college players ever, if not the greatest, and a 6-time NBA champion.
And leading scorer.
And leading scorer in the history of basketball until LeBron passes him next year. But that's another story.
Bro. Well, LeBron's what? 3?
He's 3, but he's about to pass Karl Malone pretty soon.
Wow.
I think so. I think it's coming up because he's averaging almost 30 points a game, and he only needed to average 25 for like 2 more seasons to do it. But he's literally averaged 30 right now. So LeBron's on his way to catching Kareem very soon. So yeah, I have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at number 3. Number 4, I have Irvin Magic Johnson. Won a championship in his rookie year after Kareem got injured. Playing center. Right. Filled in for Kareem at center, and has 5 rings. He played an era where he had to face Dominique Wilkins and Larry Bird and the Detroit Pistons and Michael Jordan at times. Yeah. And he's the greatest point guard ever.
Credit to the
He
show.
has the best vision I think we've ever seen, besides maybe LeBron and CP3.
Wait, hold up.
Yes,
What
sir.
about Stockton? People underrate Stockton, brother.
Mm, mm,
Oh,
those guys I named have better vision than Stockton. Stockton is what is he 6'1"? I see
yeah.
CP3 is 6'1". But I'm giving it to those floor generals before I give it to Stockton. But Stockton is top five. But he's not better
Look at
than
this
LeBron.
C splitter leader.
It's just leader because he didn't get hurt. Man was playing every game. I mean, LeBron's played every game too, or practically. But
Okay,
that's
I'll
just
give you
leader
that one.
because
I'll give you that one.
yeah.
Okay, but
So
you talking about vision. Okay, yeah. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm talking like straight IQ and vision
Oh,
on the court.
IQ.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I'm giving it to them before I give it to Stockton. But
Okay, makes sense.
Stockton can
Makes sense.
pass. I mean, Stockton is special. I know.
Yeah.
I know. So number four, I said, well, that was Magic, right? So number five. Number five is the late great Kobe Bryant. Um, yeah, Kobe Bryant. Uh, he meant a lot to the world,
Yeah.
as we all know. And that day, it
Woo.
literally that day he passed, it felt like the whole world stopped. Funny enough, prior to right before the pandemic, which the world did actually stop. So Kobe has a very special career. If you really studied his career from when he was drafted in '96 and how he was, you know, the Michael Jordan clone, I guess you would say, was coached by Phil Jackson, played with Shaquille O'Neal, eventually parted ways with Shaquille O'Neal when Shaq was traded to Miami, won two more rings with Gasol, Odom, and
Signing.
Bynum, Ron Artest, guys like that, and continue to never cheat us as a player and as a man. That man, in my opinion, is the greatest one-on-one player of all time. If I give him the ball and I say check up against any player, automatic bucks. Like I mean, Kobe had every move offensively, and he was an astounding defender.
And he was a great defensive player too.
Yeah, exactly, outstanding defender. Always effort, everything was there. The skill set was there. I mean, if Kobe didn't get hurt in 2013 with the Achilles and all of those things, I mean, you remember. I remember whenever his last season, and there was a game. I can't remember. I think it was in Sacramento. And after the game, he's sitting in the training room, bags of ice all over his legs,
Yeah.
and you could tell the man his body was done. Like that's it. But that's the thing about Kobe Bryant, the Mamba mentality, and how much it meant to the world. See a man like Kobe Bryant give his all for the game. I mean, he was willing to die on the court.
Die.
No question. I don't think you can ever question that. He was if somebody said play this game or death, Kobe's like sign me up for that. Like that's what I need. He found motivation in everything, in
Yeah.
every little thing. And after he retired, found motivation to become a better man for his family, to become a better. He was going to become. He won an Oscar, correct?
He won an Oscar, created his own media company, his
There you
book
go.
bestseller,
There you go.
whatever. Mamba Foundation Academy was
Mm-hmm.
there for his kids.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, come on,
His
bro.
daughter was going to become the next WNBA star. R.I.P. to Gianna. Things. I mean, all that stuff, right? Put into place. Kobe Bryant is the epitome of if it's within my reach, I'm gonna get it. No questions asked. And that's why Kobe deserves to be in the top five. And anybody doesn't have him in your top five, honestly, I don't know if they like basketball. I can't tell you they do. They might not like the game. They might just think the game is pick up a ball and shoot. Like, no, Kobe's that guy.
Kobe is
Battles he had. The battles he had with Pierce and with Chauncey and with Braun. And he sent Michael Jordan into retirement with 50 and things like that. I'm like, come on. Give me Kobe in my top five, please.
That's amazing, bro. Man, I love the balance, brother. Man, I love the balance. I love the way that you're both dedicated to this and the game. And bro, it's just invigorating, bro. Oh, that's so good. Now I gotta wrap it up, man. You know, it's getting heading close to the hour. So, but of course, these are the last couple questions that I always ask my guests, man. So my first question for this, like these big legacy questions, I want to ask is, what are three things that you would say to your 18-year-old self?
To my what self? I'm sorry.
18-year-old self. 3 things that you would say to your 18-year-old self
Amen.
5 years ago.
My 18-year-old self. I still remember when I was 18. I remember how I was. I would tell myself, please, no matter what happens, you said 3 things, right?
Yeah.
Be patient with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
True. The world, there is no rush per se, but the truest competition in life is with yourself. That's the truest competition. You're not looking at anybody else. Cannot compare yourself to nobody else. It is you versus you, man or woman, or however you identify. In the mirror, when you get up in the morning, that's your greatest competitor. Defeat that person every time you get up, every time you go to sleep. Say, I did something to chip away, chip away, chip away. Another thing I tell myself is, please smile more. Like, come on, man, smile more. Like, be happy and try to make your friends laugh some more because life is short.
Yeah. Yeah.
Short. Make your friends and family laugh more. Because I was when I was 18, I was dealing with a lot mentally, but
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of those things were really self-inflicted.
Yeah.
So teaching myself and unlearning those things is something that I've worked for.
Yeah.
But I would tell myself at 18, just smile a little bit more. And lastly, take some pictures. I got no pictures from when I was 18. I have nothing. Take the pictures. Take pictures of yourself. Take the pictures of the environment you were in.
Yeah.
And take some pictures with your friends and family.
Yeah.
That's what creates memories. My mom loves to take photos. So much so that it actually annoys me sometimes. I'm like,
Yeah. That's my auntie right there.
I'm like, like, do we? But I see the vision. I see the importance because you only get to be 18 once. You only get to be whatever age you are once.
Right.
And you want to be able to look back and say, man, I remember when I did that, or I remember whenever I was in this situation. And, you know, um, our friend Nate likes to say, like, when he makes his videos, he likes to, that's how he journals his life. I think taking pictures, taking videos, that's how you journal your life. You chronicleize your life when you do those things. So, very important to be able to see how far we've come.
And bro, man, you can say that again. I've been
Yeah.
taking more pictures myself.
Mhm.
I remember I hate like, well, I you know me, bro. You know, I'm a photographer, but like, I hate taking pictures of me where I used to. Because of
Yeah.
course, you know, like mentally, right? You know, you know,
You notice the imperfections quick. You're like, oh, I don't like how that looks. Oh, I don't like that. How do I smile like that? But other people don't see that as fast as you do. And you have to
right,
just be like, okay.
right, and especially you know as our confidence level gets up, right? You like you realize that like, oh wait, hold on, I am beautiful. Wait, I am attractive. Wait,
I mean, you got to tell yourself that before you can expect somebody else to tell you that, right? So,
ah,
have a
yes.
little bit of bravado when you do that. So, it's
Yes, and that's so true. That is so true, brother man, and that's so true. And that's good. So, second question: what was your top memory of 2021?
you already know the answer to this. When we took that trip, what you mean? What? That island is the greatest place I think I've ever been on this earth. What?
Bro,
Oh man, we gotta go back.
we
We
gotta go
gotta
back.
go back.
We gotta move.
For those that are listening at home, Tanaka, myself, and our other friend Judah took a trip to Tenerife, which is an island off mainland Spain near North Africa, and we spent a week there just enjoying the sights and the sounds of the ocean. It was a beautiful, beautiful place. Definitely recommend it for those who are looking for an island to go to that's not necessarily somewhere where everybody always goes, like Cancun or Cabo or wherever. I don't know, wherever islands. Hawaii, Tenerife is gorgeous, and I took so many pictures there. You can see it on my Instagram. I have put some up, and I missed that place, dude. I think for the first month after we came back, I couldn't stop telling people about how beautiful that place was. I couldn't.
You couldn't, bro. Like, bro, and bro, you know, whatever we tell people, most people are like, huh? This is place that what? What
This
is
is
it?
this is real. I'm like, yeah, yeah, it is. What you mean? Like, it's nice. So, yeah, I think that's the greatest memory of 2021. Probably the greatest memory in the last few years.
Damn beautiful, brother. And I'm so happy I got to share that with you, man. That was,
Thank you for
bro,
putting this onto that. Tanaka was the one that found the place, put the whole thing together. This man right here, to my right here, he knew what he was doing when he put that together.
man. All glory to God, bro. And my lastly, man, what do you want your legacy?
I want my legacy to be one of inspiration, first and foremost. I want people to know that Albert was somebody that was always willing to do the right thing that he believed was right, was always willing to stand up to do what is right and to just live a life of discipline while also being able to smile, right? And being able to
Mm,
enjoy and to help other people along the way. I want all of my brothers to eat with me. I want all of my sisters to eat with me. I want everybody to walk with me on this journey, and I want us to get to the mountaintop together. I'm not one to, backstab. I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't live like that. It's like if I'm eating and nobody else is eating, it frustrates me. Truthfully, it frustrates me. It makes me upset when I see myself doing better than people that I really care about, people that are in my circle. It frustrates me. I want all of us together to sit at that table and eat collectively. That's what I want my legacy to be. Somebody that inspired, was made people laugh, but also educated.
mm,
And it was just great to be around. Who could connect with anyone. That's what I want my legacy.
that's beautiful. This is my last segment of the show. I'm going to keep it short because I know how you are with words of affirmation. It's a Speak Life segment where I speak life to my guests. Albert, what you just said last, that is the life that you're living. I'm letting you know now. And I love you so much, my brother.
I love you
Man,
too.
I'm so proud of you. You know, bro, I always tell you, bro, we text almost damn near every day. I'm so
No,
grateful to continue to be. Thank you for allowing me, and thank you for choosing and allowing me to be in your
got you,
life.
my guy.
And you've changed mine, and I know that you've changed many people's already, and you're going to continue to change the lives of many more as you continue to grow and grow. And all I have to say, man, and I'm just going to keep it short, is that God is proud of you, your mom's proud of you, your grandparents and your siblings are proud of you, and I'm proud of you, and a lot of people are proud of you. And so keep on knowing that you already won, and now just keep on chipping it away to be consistent and continue to go out there and do the thing that you do best, and that is to be you.
And then thank you so much. And I love you too, man. I mean, I look at you. I look at the people that are close to us. I'm like, I'm trying to get like them. And so, y'all inspire me, and I just want to return the favor. That's all I
Yeah.
am.
You inspire a lot of us, myself included, man. So, to end the show, where can the people find you at? Where can the people can find your socials and what you would you like to plug?
Oof. Y'all can find me on Instagram. I believe my Instagram is Kweku Sarpong. That's Kweku Sarpong underscore. I think so. Sarpong is Sarpong. I believe that's the same for my Twitter as well.
Mhm.
And on TikTok, I am lowercase a, lowercase Sarpong, so Sarpong 23. I post daily. Right now, I'm starting my daily life journey. I just have to like be more consistent with that, but it's coming. I have my ideas ready to go.
Hold on, I have a question.
Yeah.
So how do y'all take the videos? Like, I don't know how you take videos. How do you take the videos? What the fuck?
I can't review that. What? I can't tell people that. I can't tell
Niggas
nobody.
taking videos of their cars. How y'all
Oh
driving?
no, hey, the car thing
By?
that that's the superstar himself. He does the car stuff. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. But that's the superstar Nathan. He does that. Where I get these angles from, it's the director's vision.
Bro, I don't
Director's
know.
vision.
TA's acting a fool on TikTok. What the?
Hey. We're just trying to put our name out there. That's all we're trying to do. Share our journey with the world. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh man! And
Yeah,
also, y'all can search up his podcast "Ticket to the Game"
I
on
was just about to
Apple,
say that too.
Spotify, and then I think it's TT Ticket
TTG Pod.
TT Bod.
Yeah, TTTG Pod on sorry, on TikTok and on Twitter.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
amazing, amazing, brother. Man, um, everybody, we are out.
Yes, sir.